Call to order the City of Douglasville's City Council Legislative Work Session for tonight, which is Thursday, November the 1st. We'll have our invocation by my friend Dr. Redmond, Assistant Pastor of the Douglasville First United Methodist Church, and after that, the Mayor Pro Tem, yes sir, Mayor Pro Tem Richard Siegel will lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand for the invocation.
First, let me say it's a blessing and an honor to be here today. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us here today, Lord, to be of your service and the service to the people of the Douglasville community. Oh, Heavenly Father, shine your light and your blessing on the City Council and all of those that are in attendance today, as well as the City of Douglasville and all of its citizens. God, we ask that you bring us to a place of peace, justice, and love, and to give us the strength, Lord, to be able to serve those that need our leadership. Father, today we ask that you bless everyone in this room and their families. This we pray in your Son's name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, as it is in liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem, and thank you so much again, Dr. Redmond, for coming and lifting up their invocation. Before we go with announcements and presentations and protocol, I'd like to say again, as we said in committee meetings, that we would remember our friend and colleague, Councilmember Mike Miller. During this time, we'll have our families know that he is in our thoughts and prayers as he continues to recover. Okay, we don't have any announcements or presentations, so I'll go with the protocol. Again, I'd like to welcome you to the Douglasville City Council Legislative Work Session. This is a work session where agenda items are presented for discussion and no official action will be taken tonight. Official action will be taken on these items discussed tonight on Monday. If the business you're here for is not listed as an agenda item, there will be ample time under the agenda item comments from Citizens and Delegates section for you to discuss your business. Just a few protocol issues I'll go over so that we'll all be on the same sheet of music. I ask that you would keep your comments and presentations on a professional level, dealing with the facts that are important for this governing body to make our decisions. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be of a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. We'll receive a warning from the chair if you deviate from this requirement. A second deviation will result in a request for you to leave the chambers and premises for the evening. Only one person speaking at a time. Please do not applaud or react to the speakers. Speak from the audience, cheer or carry on conversations during the presentations. The agenda items will be handled as the following. The committee chairperson will read the item, then the person representing the agenda item or the applicant will make his or her presentation. You'll have one opportunity to do that. Then myself and members of the council will possibly ask you questions to help us make our decisions. After that, committee chair will ask for comments or statements from the audience. There is a maximum of 30 minutes when you present for the person presenting that item. I apologize, 30 minutes for those speaking in favor of the agenda item and 30 minutes for those speaking in opposition. Each person has 5 minutes to speak. When you come to the podium, please give us your name and address for the record. There is a form that you should have filled out to give to our city clerk, Ms. Vicki Acker, to my right. And each person has one opportunity to speak. This is not a question and answer or a debate format. Please just present your information and we'll respond at that time. Okay, well that is it. If you have any materials, if it's printed or you have documents or pictures that you would like to show us, please give those items to the city clerk as well. So now we'll move on through the agenda. The first agenda is Public Safety Committee. On the agenda is the Public Safety Committee, and that's chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Mayor. Thank you. I have no items at this time. Thank you, Madam.
You're welcome. Number 6 on the agenda is Community and Economic Development Committee. That's chaired by Mayor Pro Tem Richard Siegel.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No business tonight.
Thank you, sir. Planning and Development Committee is the next item on the agenda, and that's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have several items tonight to discuss under Planning and Development. We'll start with item A, consider a request for approval of a development plan for McDonald's USA LLC for .74 acres at 6072 Fairburn Road, located in Land Lot 5, District 1, Section 5, Parcel 67, for plans dated August 24th, 2018. Application by William Peretta, Greenberg, Faro. Is there a representative for McDonald's here tonight? Please come forward, sir, if you would, and identify yourself for the record with name and address. We'd love to hear from you.
Good evening, William Parada
evening.
with Greenberg Faro, 1430 Peachtree Street, Atlanta.
Thank you, sir. How are you?
Good, thank you. Yeah.
Give us, if you would like, we do have an attachment, Mayor and Council, we do have attachments as far as application, site plan, and elevations for this redevelopment of the McDonald's there on the corner of Hospital Drive and Fairburn Road, Highway 92. Help us, Mr. Peretta. Any information you can provide to us or any questions that you have for us?
I have no question. The project is basically to remodel the restaurant that was built approximately back in 1989. It's going to look very similar to the project you've seen on Highway 5, and we're trying to give it a much more updated, contemporary look. And you know, we submitted the elevations, and if you have any questions, the goal is to start construction January of this coming year. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them for you.
Okay. Council, Madam Mayor, any questions of the applicant? Yes, Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I am so excited to see this. You said 1989.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. It was well overdue for a facelift. So we are excited about that. It's a really busy corridor there. But I wanted to ask, I know that there are some Georgia Power utility something in the road. There's some other construction. I know part of it is maybe the realignment for Highway 92. Is that going to impede you, or are we in conjunction with Georgia Power or whomever that is? Mr. Chairman, do you know, or staff, to help with that whole area?
Madam Mayor, I think what you're speaking of may be the western side of Hospital Drive there at 92. It's
Yes,
odd
sir.
that you asked. I walked that area yesterday morning before daylight, and I specifically made sure I stayed over in the parking lot and off the curb and gutter and off the sidewalk. But I think that has something to do with the 92 realignment and
Yeah.
changeover. That I know it has nothing to do with this project. They won't start until 2019. But I'm sure a lot of that sidewalk that is there now would be displaced and relocated as you see that project going on. We do have a site plan on file here as one of the attachments for you to look at. It does still appear that one entrance is through the common area of the parking lot across the way from Longhorn, and the other is in the same location as it was prior. So basically, are you going to completely take down the building, or are we just going to do a facelift and a major remodel?
It's just a facelift, sir.
So
Yes,
the building
exterior
itself, the
remodel.
structure will stay?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
We're going to take what's there now, use the existing brick. The existing mansard roof will be removed, and a parapet wall built in its place, a straight-up wall above the roof line. And it's basically, we're trying to use what we got and take it, move it into the 20th century.
Sure. Okay. Other questions, comments? Mr. Miller?
Yeah, Mr. Adams, I think you mostly answered my question. The footprint will remain identical, is that correct?
Yes.
No expansion, no addition to the footprint?
Correct.
Is the interior going to be substantially remodeled as well?
Yes, yeah, the interior dining room will be remodeled, the service area and the restrooms will all be remodeled. It's going to have a much more updated look, the new contemporary look that McDonald's is.
Will the restaurant remain open while the remodeling renovation is going on?
The dining room will be closed during the remodel, and the drive-through will remain open. The remodel takes about 7 weeks.
Just like Highway 5 is at the moment, so.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I would assume like the Chapel Hill Road location was done earlier in the year.
I didn't work on that. I don't know about that one, but yeah.
Other questions, comments? Anyone? Okay, as I always do, I'm going to ask Mr. Schaefer from our planning department just to nod his head that we have reviewed the plans. They are within scope and are up to par as far as our facade requirements. And so they're ready to go as soon as we approve. And you said you would start right after January 1, is that correct?
Yes, sir. January 19th is the anticipated construction start date.
Okay. If you will come back on Monday night, we will vote on this item, and we appreciate you coming in.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item, adopt a resolution approving the City of Douglasville's update to its comprehensive plan, including the future land use plan as required by the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. Ms. Wright, can you help us with that, please?
Yes. Michelle Wright, City of Douglasville, 6695 Church Street, Douglasville, Georgia. As we had submitted our comprehensive plan to the Atlanta Regional Commission and the Department of Community Affairs, we worked on this plan since September of 2017. It now has been approved by the Atlanta Regional Commission and the Department of Community Affairs, and you have a letter in your packet dated October 25th stating that approval. And the next step would be for the city to adopt the plan and approve the resolution that is attached.
Any questions of Ms. Wright? I did have one, Ms. Wright. This is the document that we were awaiting prior to our taking up the approval of the updated plan, and that was to get the approval back from DCA, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I want to make sure that, yes, Mr. Siegel, Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Once we've adopted this, then citizens who would like to review it can go to the DCA, Department of Community Affairs website, where it'll be posted on there. They post plans for all the cities and counties in Georgia, correct?
That is correct. We will also have it posted on our website.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Wright. We'll take that up then on Monday night. Next item, item C, authorize the city manager to apply for a change in zoning from R2 Single Family Detached Residential District to IL Light Industrial District for 8 ± acres at 8145 Cedar Mountain Road in land lot 223, District 2, Section 5, Parcel 2, application by the City of Douglasville. Mr. Schaefer is here to help us with that. Go ahead, sir.
Phil Schaefer, 6695 Church Street, zoning administrator for the City of Douglasville. This is a request to help us be a little more transparent in what we're doing at the new maintenance and sanitation facility. I need a little help from the city manager to authorize a couple of things to be done before I can actually bring an ordinance to you for adoption. So we have to have a step to survey the property that's actually going to be rezoned and get a property description of that 8 acres of the 65 acres that we actually own. This would create a small piece of light industrial that would allow folks who live in the area to understand when they look at the zoning map, in fact, what is actually going to happen on the property.
Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. And this also would create as much transparency as possible, which I think we're all very much in favor of, in that the city is trying to have our property zoned the same as any other user, like user would have. And so it is incumbent upon us as a city to, rather than be exempt as we could be, to go through the zoning process for this property. Any questions, comments? Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. We'll take this up on Monday night. Moving right along, item D, adopt a resolution to confirm changing the name of Rainwater Drive to Military Way, consistent with the recent plat approval for Veterans Place. Hello, Ms. Patrice Williams. How are you?
Good evening. I'm great. Patrice Williams, Community Development Director, 6695 Church Street. This really is a housekeeping measure here. A few weeks ago, we did make a name change, and so the county has asked us to make it official with this resolution. So this is the Habitat subdivision, so we're going from Rainwater Drive to Military Way, but it's just a name change.
Everyone familiar with that, what's gone on there, the great work that's being done there off Chicago Avenue? I'm assuming the final plat's already been accepted with the name Military Way on it, so now we need to go back and correct it as far as our records. Any comment or question? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that, Patrice. I'll ask that this be placed on the consent agenda for Monday night if there's no objection. Thank you very much. Madam Mayor, that's all that we have tonight under Planning and Development. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on to Parks and Recreation Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
We have 2 items tonight. They're kind of connected, but I'm going to ask Chris Cartwright to come down as I read. We'll address A, and then we'll go to B. Item A, authorize the mayor to sign a lease agreement and related documents with DLL Finance LLC, formerly known as Accredit Acceptance LLC, to lease 72 new electric golf carts for the use at West Pines Golf Course. And Mr. Cartwright's going to fill us in.
Madam Mayor and Council, thank you for having me. Chris Cartwright, 9090 Rose Avenue, Douglasville, Georgia. So this is the new lease proposal that we discussed a couple weeks back with Club Car out of Augusta, Georgia. If you recall, 3 years ago when we negotiated this lease, we not only got an incredible price on it, but we also got warranties for the batteries for 4 years. With some battery issues that have come up in the last few months, they have offered us what they call an early roll lease option, allowing us to enter into a new lease agreement for the exact same price as our current agreement. So just to compare the prices from the previous quotes 3 years ago, we're looking at about $11,000 better per year for this lease than their competitors. So it certainly is a great deal that we'd like to continue.
Any questions? As Chris said, we went over this a couple weeks ago, but not all on the council was there. So do we have any questions about this particular? Yes, Mr.
Coach, I did have a question for Mr. Cartwright. The Club Car line, has it been, other than the battery issue over this period in the lease, has it been a quality cart that has provided us with the service we want for our users of the golf course, other than the battery issue? Is that basically the only problem?
Yes, sir. That's the only problem, and there are three main manufacturers of golf carts, and we're lucky that they're all based in Georgia. We're unlucky that they all use the same battery company.
So no matter what brand we had leased, there was a possibility we'd have the same issue?
Correct.
Okay. So, but there's no other reason why we should not continue with Club Car?
No, they are the industry leader, in my opinion.
Thank you very much. That's all I had, Coach.
And they've stood behind the
Correct.
batteries.
Absolutely. Even with the early roll lease option, they were out this week replacing some batteries for us to keep our fleet as functional as possible.
Yes, Madam Mayor.
I did have a quick question. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Chris, and I'm not an expert, so I'm just asking this question, and it may be a blonde street question, not to be disrespectful. But so removing from batteries to electric. Now, my son has a lime green scooter at Georgia Southern, and all the students, college students, have these electric scooters. But when you get on campus, there isn't any place to charge them or plug them in or whatever. So do we, since we had batteries, do we have adequate charging stations, or how's that going to work for the electric golf carts?
Yes, ma'am. So on site, we have an indoor cart storage facility. We could house up to 75 or 80 golf carts in there. And the new golf carts will each come with their own dedicated charger that the building is obviously wired and equipped to handle.
Okay.
So overnight, they're charging, ready to go for the next day.
And they last throughout the entire day?
Yes, ma'am.
Through there, okay. All right, now, I know that was kind of a dipsy question.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilman Adams.
Mr. Cartwright, just for our viewing audience to know, what is the general schedule as to the replacement of the carts? When would these new carts be delivered to our facility? Do you know that?
So the Club Car will not build any of the golf carts until all the paperwork is signed and the I's dotted and T's crossed. So once all the paperwork is handled, we're looking at about 4 to 6 weeks for delivery of the new carts.
So we could look at a January, theoretically a January delivery?
At the latest, I would say January, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, if it pleases the council, I'd like to place this on the consent agenda for Monday. Okay. All right, Mr. Cartwright's going to stay right there for the next one. Authorize the mayor to sign a license and service agreement and related documents with GPSI Leasing 2, Accord LLC, to equip the city's new golf carts with computer software for the Tempo Connect with Shark Experience. And Mr. Cartwright's going to explain what that looks like.
Absolutely. So Club Car has partnered with this company to offer the Shark Experience, which is a partnership between Greg Norman, a Famous Golfer, and Verizon Wireless. And so this system will wirelessly allow the customer to add a few amenity features to their round of golf. So you have the option of using GPS services so you know exactly how far away you are from a given hole. You would also have the option of streaming music through the speakers in the golf cart, similar to a Pandora radio experience. And then the third and highest tier option would be actually be live video coverage of sporting events, such as whatever PGA Tour event happens to be taking place that week. So we see a little bit of a downturn in the fall season. Once football games pick up, the golf course is not as busy in the afternoons. So we see this as an opportunity to allow our customers to play golf without missing the Georgia, Alabama, whoever their fan favorite team is, football game. So they could enjoy both of their activities throughout the fall.
If you would, just explain the additional charge in the fact that this won't be mandatory. In other words, it's a amenity, not something that...
Certainly. It is an optional add-on. It is something that not every customer will be required to use, so we will not see any rate changes at the golf course. If a customer decides they would like to listen to said game, they'll pay for the coverage for that round of golf. The three categories are $6, $8, and $10 per round. So for $6, you're getting the GPS and access to the speakers. For $8, you get the live streaming music and the college football play-by-play. And then at $10, you get all of the options, including the live sports coverage. And that is per cart, not per person. So if you're riding in a cart with a friend of yours, you're looking at $3 per person for that lowest tier.
And also, go ahead and quickly explain the feature of being able to control the golf carts from being in areas on the golf course where they're not allowed to be, and how that's handled.
Certainly. So from a management perspective, we would now be able to control where our customers can and can't drive. We don't want them driving into the sand traps that we spend so much money taking care of. We don't want carts ending up in lakes or creeks, things of that nature. When the golf course gets a lot of rain, we might go cart path only. We'll now have the ability to make sure that those golf carts stay on the cart path, not causing damage to the fairways that right now we don't have that ability to do. In addition to that, we can prevent some theft issues that we've had in the past. We can lock the carts down and make sure nobody takes one when they're not authorized to do so. And we also spend a lot of man hours each week checking the carts for what's called amp hours. So in order for that warranty to not be in void, we have to keep the carts within a 10% fluctuation of each other, similar to mileage on your cars. So with 72 golf carts, you can imagine it's pretty difficult over a 4-year period to keep every cart within a 10% range. So currently we have to plug in a handheld device to each cart individually. Now I'll be able to pull up a report on my computer and just print it out. So that'll save 6 to 8 man hours each week right there.
What is the cost?
So the cost for this unit is $1,080 per month. So a little over $12,000 for the year. But for every customer that uses the technology, we will get a 50-cent rebate. So I anticipate our actual cost to be between $6,000 and $8,000 per year.
What was the approximate savings on the first item, getting the golf carts a year early at yesterday's price, basically?
Yes, so if we compared it to the other quotes that we got 3 years ago, each one was a $11,000 and change savings. So we're still well under that threshold.
Any questions or? Nobody? Would it be all right to add this to the consent agenda? Thank you, Mr. Cartwright.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, that is all the items I had tonight under Parks and Recreation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on to Finance Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have several items tonight under Finance. I'm going to ask Ms. Callen if she'll come forward, our Finance Director, and help us with each of these. There are 4 different ones, but we'll talk about them individually, and we'll have her address each one. Adopt an ordinance to amend the City of Douglasville's fiscal year 2018-2019 general fund budget. Go ahead, Ms. Callen. with an
Thank you,
overview,
Karen
please.
Callen, Finance Director, as the committee chair said. Our first budget amendment, this is the second budget amendment for our general fund this year, and I'll just hit the highlights. We discussed this briefly in the committee meeting earlier. We have a $50,000 transfer to the Downtown Development Authority, not the City Development Authority, but the Downtown Development Authority. We also have a $29,000 increase for our Faster software, which is for our fleet software program. And we also have a $13,500 change order for Northside study for the New Horizons Redevelopment District project. And we're able to take those funds from our contingency line item for a net effect of 0.
Questions, comments? I know we discussed this in committee earlier. Is there any concern or any reason why we would not place this on the consent agenda for Monday? Okay, move on to item B. Adopt an ordinance to amend the City of Douglasville's fiscal year 2018-2019 confiscated assets fund budget.
The confiscated asset fund budget are the police department when they seize drug funds and cash. That's where the money goes. We have 2 subdivisions of the confiscated asset fund. We have local drug funds and we have federal funds. The first one we'll go over the local drug fund budget amendment, and that we are increasing their budget by $85,000. This is coming from their fund balance. They do have cash in their reserves to use to fund this purchase. One is for $30,000 for Youth Against Violence, which is a program that they have that their chief runs, and $55,000 for education and training, and that's from the local drug fund budget. For the federal fund budget, a total of $50,000. They also have that in their reserves, their cash reserves. $10,000 increase for education and training, and $40,000 for vehicles.
Questions, comments? Okay, could we please place that on the consent agenda for Monday, item B? Move on to item C. Adopt an ordinance to amend the City of Douglasville's fiscal year 2018-2019 enterprise solid waste fund budget.
The total budget amendment is $119,369. $104,000 is coming from the fund balance reserves, and that is for the Wade 4 passenger transit van of $32,000 and portable radios of $71,033. We have also a reimbursement from our insurance company for a vehicle that was damaged, and we are going to use that to apply to a purchase of a new vehicle.
Question, comments? Could we place that on the agenda, please, for Monday night on the consent agenda? Item D, adopt an ordinance to amend the City of Douglasville's fiscal year 2018-2019 Splost fund budget.
This is our 5th Splost budget amendment. We are now 18 months into the Splost program. It's a 6-year Splost. I'll hit the highlights on that. Our public safety portion of the Splost, we're adding funds to strike the parking lot, and we'll take that from the public safety contingency line item. In our facilities portion of the Splost program, we are increasing our City Hall renovation budget by $50,000 to renovate some additional bathrooms and some additional items that we needed. That's also coming from the contingency line item. In our roads portion of the Splost, we are adding $233,000 for concept and design for the Dallas Highway Gateway project. And in our parks portion of the Splost, we are moving funds from the Hunter Park maintenance shed to renovate the current maintenance building. Once the current maintenance and sanitation department move to their new Cedar Mountain facility, then that will be renovated where they're currently at for parks and recreation.
Okay. Any question on that item? If not, I'd like to place that on the consent agenda. Thank you very much, Ms. Callen. We'll take those up on Monday night under the consent agenda. Is that the last one of those? Okay. Item E, authorize the mayor to sign a Georgia Crime Information Center Agency User Agreement, ORI, to obtain an originating agency identifier number to use in compliance with a new ruling of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. to facilitate continuing the city's practice of checking the criminal background of applicants for alcoholic beverage licenses and permits. Is that you again, Ms. Callen? Okay, go ahead.
All right, we'll begin the process, a new process for the city to facilitate fingerprinting for alcohol licenses. The city will be considered a non-criminal agency. We will use the GAP system, which is the same thing that the police department uses, which is basically they can go and get fingerprinted at the post office or, where else, Mandy, can they go? UPS store, that's what I meant to say. Yeah, UPS store, they can go there to get fingerprinted. Again, that will begin the process of that.
Basically, they can come here to City Hall and do the same thing they were having to go off-site to do?
Well, they'll still have to go off-site.
Okay, but we can originate it here.
Yes, and well, we will have to do it. Police department can no longer do it. So a non-criminal agency has to do it now.
So this is just a way that we are aligning ourselves from a legality standpoint, that we cannot send them to our police department.
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Any question on that? Can we place that on the consent agenda, please? Thank you very much. That's all that we have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on to Information Technology Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under Information and Technology at this time.
Thank you, sir. Item 11 is Maintenance and Sanitation Committee. Vice Chair, Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
Authorize the mayor to sign an agreement under Maintenance and Sanitation, Authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with a specified company for the collection and hauling of commercial front-end load solid waste within the city. We do have several proposals there in front of us as attachments, and I understand from our committee meeting at 5 o'clock, these will be presented, these quotes will be presented on Monday night. I believe Mr. Roberts will present those. We do have the information there in front of us that we can review over the weekend. Ms. Hampton, did you have something to say about that?
No, sir. Just to let you know you have the information you need attached.
Okay. Any question concerning that? We'll be taking that up on Monday night. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. That's all we have under Maintenance and Sanitation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vice Chairman. We'll move on to Transportation Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShawn Burdanley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
We have 3 items under transportation tonight. The first is authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with the Douglas County Board of Commissioners to share the cost of engineering services by Wilburn Engineering, LLC for holiday transportation signal timing. Ms. Wright.
And thank you, Mayor and Council. Michelle Wright, Planning Manager, City of Douglasville. This item is our annual traffic holiday plan, which we implement from Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, till December 25th. And we split this plan with the county. We have 5 intersections in the city, and the county has 7. And the total cost is $25,092.14, with 5/12 being our portion, which is $10,455.06.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. Are there any questions or comments? Yes, ma'am.
I just had a quick comment. The Madam Chair, the sheriff and the chief and I meet quarterly, and we did talk about transportation and signalization during the holidays. And so the chief did say that this agreement would not preclude the Public Safety Department, and you can talk, Deputy Chief, if you wanted to, from directing traffic if they had to during the holiday season at the mall. So, of course, we know signalization will work and have everyone moving at the same time, but if there becomes a gridlock, he said that the police department would help direct traffic with the police officer.
That is correct. We will have extra officers out during the busy times during the holiday season, but if we don't cover all of the intersections when you release traffic from one, it just bogs down the next one. So it kind of creates a chain effect there. So, but yes, ma'am, we will have extra officers out there monitoring it.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, for the comment. And I'd like to add that item to the consent agenda. Is that fine? Thank you. The second item is to approve the lighting and banners, curb and gutter plan, and authorize staff to send out a bid to go to construction for the lighting and banners Phase 2 TE grant project. Ms. Wright.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As we went over this project earlier in the work session, this is a project to add curb and gutter to the Lighting and Banners Phase 2T grant, which is on Dallas Highway. It's on the west side of Dallas Highway. It starts a little bit north of Strickland Street and goes right up to below Brown Street. And the cost of this would be approximately $203,000 is the estimate.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. We had, the mayor and council had more discussion on this in our committee meeting, and we'll vote on Monday, November.
Madam Chair, could I ask a
I'm
question?
sorry.
And I don't think it's been brought up. Of that $203,000 estimate, is this being a part of a TE grant for lighting and banners? Is there any portion of this that is paid under the grant, or is that all out of the city coffers?
It's all out of the city.
This will be over and above the monies that have been realized through the grant?
It
that
is
we
over
would-
and
We
above.
would be responsible for?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the question, Councilman Adams. All right. The last item is authorize the mayor to sign a contract with the selected consultant for the Dallas Highway Livable Centers Initiative, LCI, planning for planning services. Ms. Wright.
As we have received money from the Atlanta Regional Commission to do a study on the portion of Dallas Highway that will have its state route designation removed, and that the new highway will be no longer there. We're taking a look at that project to implement some needed changes there, and we have two bidders that bid on the project, ADP Engineering and Lowe's, and you interviewed them today, and on Monday night you will decide between one of those to be our consultant for the LCI Dallas Highway study.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. Are there any questions from our mayor or council? Madam Mayor?
Yes, ma'am. I had a quick question. I can't remember if this is ballot, or do we make the give you over the weekend our recommendations, or our out of the two that we choose, and you make the recommendation, or how do we do that? I can't remember.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. City Manager?
I would
Ms. Hampton.
suggest you all discuss with Ms. Stanley if you have any concerns. We will have an item on 5 o'clock for you all just to briefly discuss who you think should be included in the wording, unless you all know what you want to do before we leave this evening.
Okay. So you all can reach out to me over the weekend or at our committee meeting on Monday. Go from there, all right? There aren't any other items tonight under transportation. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome. We'll move on to item 13, which is Personnel and Organization Committee. That's chaired by Mayor Pro Tem Richard Siegel.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We do have a few items. First is to adopt a resolution providing for one-time special holiday season payments to City of Douglasville employees.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Tia Austin Bean, 6695 Church Street, Human Resources. The first item is the resolution concerning our annual holiday payments to our employees. In that resolution is the designated amounts and the eligibility requirements, which are full-time employees being employed as of 6 months by December 1st. Also full-time employees being employed by September the 1st for 3 months, and then part-time employees being employed by 6 months as of December 1st. So those are the eligibility requirements, and the amounts are in the resolution as it relates to each of those eligibility requirements. And so we're before you again this time of the year for this resolution.
Seems like this time of year comes around quicker and quicker each year.
Yes, sir.
Any comments or questions from Mayor and Council?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
is it the same amount for each of those categories as last year? or-
You go ahead and look in the attachment, and you'll see it spelled out there, but yes.
I missed that.
Yes, sir. Nothing has changed from last year, but they are in the resolution. I can state them if need be. I can state them if need be. Okay. Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, then I'd like to request this be put on the consent agenda unless there's any objection. Next item is to authorize the mayor to sign a city manager employment agreement with Ms. Marsha Hampton to continue to employ her as a contract appointee consistent with the recent amendment to the city charter.
Douglasville.
Mr. Chairman, I'll tell you about that. The contract is in your materials here. If you look on page 2 toward the center of it, you'll see the salary for which there was a consensus under salary and compensation. Later in the document, you'll see that there is a provision for severance pay, which was your counter offer to her, and she's good with that. You can still discharge the city manager, not for cause, but if you do, severance pay will be due. If you discharge her for cause, the severance pay is not due. It's still consistent with your change to the charter.
Thank you. Any comments from mayor and council? Any comments from the city manager?
No, sir. I just appreciate everyone's support, and thank you for allowing me to be your first contracted city manager. Thank you.
We haven't voted on it yet, so.
No.
Well, you're going
You
to
can thank
obviously
us after
contract
Monday.
with someone. Thank you,
Maybe.
Richard. I do appreciate it.
Mr.
Well,
Mr.
how about
Chairman,
yes, sir.
might I add, I would have to say that more than likely Ms. Hampton would be here whether she had a contract or not.
How about we put this on the consent agenda? Any objections there?
I will support that.
I was gonna recommend that we keep her, so.
All righty. Anyway, moving right along. Item C is to adopt an ordinance amending subsection 1111.2 of the Personnel Policies and Procedures Ordinance to revise the pay date for sick leave buyback payments.
Yes, sir. This ordinance is currently adopted. However, we would like to come before you to be able to change the wording to allow for flexibility as it relates to the payment date for sick leave buyback and not be held to a specific pay date in December as stated. So we would like to change that to have more flexibility. And basically what we want to do is pay it out in a timely manner as soon as possible instead of being bound to the second payday in December. So it allows us to wrap that on up.
Any comments or questions on that? All right. If there's no objections, I'd like to also place that on the consent agenda for Monday. And I
Mr.
have no
Chairman.
other items, Madam Mayor.
Mr. Chairman, before you recess out of it, I wanted to add one thing for item A as it relates to one-time special payments, that it is budgeted for this year, so.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. That's it.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. We'll move on to item 14, Ordinance and Intergovernmental Committee. Vice Chair, Dr. LaShawn Danley.
No items, Madam Mayor, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. 15, Education and Training Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
Yes, ma'am. Item 15, I believe we're gonna take this up after, right, madam?
Yes, sir. Ms. Littlefield has more discussion to have with you on this item after the meeting. She may want to make some brief comments, but she'll give a more detailed discussion when we reconvene back into committees.
Okay, so we still need to read it? Okay. Adopt an ordinance to amend subsection 2-50C of the Administration Ordinance to revise the regulation concerning transportation for training for elected officials and to enact subsection 2-53D3D of said ordinance to prohibit line items, budget transferred by the city manager for travel and training by elected official. And I do believe that we recessed and we'll take this up after the meeting. Thank you. That's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Councilman Davis. We'll move on to Communications Committee. That's also chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
No items at this time, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, is there any other business to come before council members from the council? I thought I heard something.
I assume Mr. Sarowitz is going to come up later to talk about the gravity games? Okay, then I will not mention that.
Okay.
I don't want to steal his thunder.
You don't want to steal his thunder. The only other thing about other business that was done, I just wanted to give kudos to Councilman Watts. He held his town hall, I believe it was Tuesday. It was very well attended and great questions from his constituents, as well as we had a GDOT meeting, Georgia Department of Transportation meeting this past Monday, and that was very informative to the citizens in the north side corridor. I was trying to think of New Horizons. And a prayer visual that the city helped to sponsor with Councilmember Mike Miller's law firm that was really well attended last Tuesday as well in the square. And so those 3 events were really nice this week. It's been a busy week. So that's the only other business that I had related to council. So we'll move on now to item 18, our city attorney, Mr. Joel Dotson.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much. Chief Assistant City Attorney, Ms. Susan Littlefield.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Deputy Chief of Police, Sue Shaw.
No business, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. City Manager, Ms. Marsha Hampton.
Yes, ma'am. Just to remind you all that we will have an executive session as well as to reconvene back into committees. And just also to remind you all to please look at your Friday emails, because we do have lots of interviews, not only with citizen volunteers to fill board positions, but also with architectural contractors that you all will be looking to hire to start the process of design work on several of your projects that you have coming up moving forward. You also have one of your final trips this year coming up, the trip to Swanee. That is your last trip to take a look at an amphitheater. It will be very different from the one that you saw in Woodstock. It will be, your trip is scheduled for Friday, November 16th. If you cannot make that trip, or if you're driving on your own, please let us know. Mr. Roberts, of course, is typically our driver for that trip. You will be meeting with city officials like you have in the past at these meetings. So again, keep an open mind. This one is more of a park amphitheater, not just an amphitheater. So we will be looking for you all for feedback at your retreat at the top of the year to determine where we go, because we will shortly close that gap and start to do the design work. So just keep those Friday emails, take a look at those, and your Monday meeting, committee meetings will start at 4 p.m. again. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. I did forget something. I apologize. Before we go to citizens' comments and delegates, USO, we have those boxes that are at Jesse Davis Park and Hunter Park and City Hall. And so the representative will be here on Monday to collect. We have, City Hall is overflowing. I think Mr. Grizzle put a dent in a lot of items that he brought, but those items were given to the USO representative for Veterans Day, and she'll be here on Monday to collect. So I appreciate all the employees giving their personal resources to the USO so that we can send those over to the soldiers and men and women that are still in active duty.
Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I apologize for asking. I've lost, or I can't figure out where the list is. It shows some of the items that are being requested. Is there any way of including that in Friday's email? I know it's somewhere in a past email, but I can't find it.
I know, we get lots of emails. So I'll have City Manager, is it possible to have Ms. Maria or someone send the list out to the council again? Or Aaron? Okay, Mr. Sorowitz. Thank you so much. And I apologize for interjecting. I just thought about that when you were telling us things that happened on Friday. So now we'll move on to comments from citizens and delegates. If we have someone that has to stay, and I know we do. Yes, ma'am. Please come to the microphone and give us your name and address for the record, and we would love to hear your concern. Thank you for sustaining this meeting. And
Madam Mayor and Council, my name is Cindy Welch. My address is 3002 Concord Way, Douglasville, 30135. And it does happen to be a subdivision in the county, but the problem is our only street in and out of our neighborhood comes out on Stewart Mill Road. Directly across Stewart Mill Road is the driveway from Coles, which is supposed to be a right turn only. People are not using that as a right turn, and Tuesday, I almost got creamed. I came out, had my left turn signal on, saw a car there, assumed he was going to make a right turn, and as I made my left turn and he, would be in his other lane, he decided to make a left turn. And I stopped in the middle of Stewart Mill Road. I mean, I don't know how he stopped and I stopped, but that happens time and time again. Somebody's going to get hurt or killed. And there used to be flags there.
Yes,
those are gone. The median could be extended, because I looked at it closely, and a friend of mine looked at it, and he said there's no reason that they couldn't make that median so you could not go over the top of it to make that left turn.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you, Ms. Welch. We'll have our public safety look at that intersection, and if we need to replace those flags, I think there were some cones or flags or something there, and they may have gotten hit because people
Oh, yeah, because people are
didn't
making that
realize.
turn all the time.
Yes, ma'am.
Constantly. I mean, I laid on my horn.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had not been meeting a granddaughter for lunch, I would have went down, turned around, and followed that person.
Well, we're glad that you're okay and that you brought this to our attention, and we will assure you that public safety will look at that intersection to see what we can do, and maybe we can have a sign or something, a reader sign that flashes or something to remind people that you can only make a right and not turn
I
left.
think if you would extend it so it would be harder for him to make that left turn, that maybe that would help.
Okay.
But your road department, can maybe look at that.
Yes, ma'am, that's what I was going to say, Mr. Roberts. But thank you so much for bringing it to our attention,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Welch.
And I
We
also want to
appreciate you.
thank you all. You now have the light on the flag at Freedom Island, and I so appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Do we have any comments from council members as relates to that? Okay. Thank you so much. Any other comments from citizens and delegates? No? Okay. So we'll move on to staff reports. Do we have any staff reports?
Yes, ma'am. We do have Mr. Aaron Sarowitz, but I do want to recognize our temporary worker. You get emails from Nia Williams. Nia, stand up. She's helping us out, and as always, it's always good to be able to have temporary support. Found out about Miss Nia through the Georgia Municipal Association. She had been helping out with a lot of cities, so she is helping and doing well. She's in community development in the city manager's office. And where else are you, Miss Nia? Yeah, so we have a couple departments within there that are short-staffed, but she's been doing well. So when you get emails from her, that's who you're getting emails from. So she's doing really well. I did get feedback at the Georgia City County Managers Association. Everyone was asking me, Nia came to work for you all, make certain if it doesn't work out, give me a call. So she has a lot of people asking about her. So you
Miss
want to come
Nia.
up and say a few words about
I
yourself?
was going to put you on the spot. Please come to the microphone and talk a little bit. That's what you get when your father is the mayor, when your dad's the mayor of Union City, Mayor Vince Williams. This is his daughter, Miss Nia Williams. So tell us, you recently graduated and all that good stuff.
Yes, ma'am. So my name is Nia Williams. I recently graduated from University of Memphis in May with a degree in journalism. I minored in French. After there, I did some work with GMA, working in communications with them, interning during their conference in Savannah. And after that, I worked with a foster care agency, Bloom Our Youth, and learned a little bit about that. And then I came here.
Well, good. And your dad is?
He is the mayor of Union City. His name is Vince Williams.
Yes, and your mom's a military. How many years was your mom in military?
30 years.
30 years in
and
the
now she
Army.
works with the VA hospital.
Mm-hmm. Well, welcome. We're excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Tell your parents I said hello.
Well, I will say, Mayor, I did see her dad last week, and he said, worker, and if she's not, send her back.
Thank you. Welcome. Any other staff reports? Yes, Mr. Sarowitz. You want to talk to us about gravity games, and we have a cleanup day on Malone Street.
That's right.
Yes.
So Saturday, the 5th annual Georgia Gravity Games, every year we partner with Google and Georgia Tech to host the games, and this year they'll run from 9 to 2 p.m. The road closures will open up sometime after the cleanup. It's kind of, the end is always a little open-ended. So the road closures will open up at the very latest at 5 p.m. And then those road closures will actually begin tomorrow. That's Friday, and at 6 p.m. Originally it was 5, and then today it got pushed to 6. And then those road closures will be Church Street from Club Drive to Price at O'Neill Plaza, Club Drive between Broad and Spring Streets, East Courthouse Square between Broad and Spring Streets, and West Courthouse Square between Broad and Church Streets. And as you mentioned, there'll be a road cleanup on Malone Street in the morning, I think kind of in conjunction at the same time with the Gravity Games. And I think you'll be at that.
Yes.
So I would encourage you all to, if you haven't been to the Gravity Games, I would encourage you to go. It's a really unique event, and I've enjoyed it the past couple of years. And then I do have one more. You mentioned the USO donation. We'll be giving that to the USO on Monday, but you'll also be hosting a short reception between the 4 o'clock and the 6 o'clock meetings for any staff who's served or currently serving in the military. So it'll be light refreshments, and it'll be very brief.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to point that out. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll get you the donation list. I'll get each of you a copy of the donation list. We'll probably get all those donations up Monday morning.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate your help with that effort too, Aaron. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. is the Douglas County Tigers and Alexander. Ooh, football game. That's going to be a good game. So if anyone wants to attend that, it should be really good as well. Any other staff reports? Okay, well.
Madam Mayor?
Oh, I apologize. Yes, sir.
No, I had one item. I wanted to announce that, in case anybody hadn't heard, the Douglas County High School's theatric troupe won first place in their regional competition up in Paulding County for their performance of The Diary of Anne Frank.
Excellent.
And there was one kid in particular who got who won Best Actor Award for his role as Otto Frank, and I think his name was Isaac Miller.
Yes, his name was Isaac. Isaac was excellent.
So, but yeah, they did a fantastic job. They're now going to the state competition down in Macon next weekend. So keep an eye out for that, see how well they do.
Congratulations to Isaac. It was a very moving play. My daughter and I were kind of speechless. We just got in the car and didn't talk all the way home. It was very moving.
It was. They did a fantastic job. I mean, I'm not just saying that because I have a personal connection, although it is a little unnerving, as I said, to see your child being chased by Nazis. But it was, yeah, they did a fantastic job on it. They really worked hard. The set design was great. The teacher in charge of that, he does a great job as well. So, but I think they're going to do well in the state competition. We'll see.
Very good. We're proud of them. Thank you so much. Any other announcements? Okay, if not, then we have an executive session. I'll open the floor to adjourn into executive session to discuss a property acquisition. Make a motion to adjourn.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss property acquisition.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a proper motion and second to adjourn into executive session to discuss a property acquisition. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We are adjourned into executive session to discuss a property acquisition. Do we need a 5-minute recess? Yes. Okay. Well, it's after a 5-minute recess. So we're adjourned into executive session.